The NFL Wildcard weekend kicks off 4:30 Eastern on Saturday with Chargers at Texans, the 5 seed and the 4 seed. It's the Texans' favorite spot. They played every single playoff game of their franchise in the Saturday 4:30 window. It's reserved for
Yep.
them, the honorary position. And the matchup to watch in this one, there is no better place to start than the strength on strength matchup. I think a top five offensive tackle unit for the Los Angeles Chargers against a top five pass rushing edge unit for the Houston Texans. I mean, top five is probably even conservative. These are top three units
Correct.
at those respective positions with Joe Alt, Rashawn Slater for the Chargers, Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson for the Houston Texans. Leger, I'm going to start with you. You go give me the defensive perspective here. How do we see this matchup
Yeah,
playing out for
this
the Texans?
this is big on big. I remember I was excited to see that Denver and Chargers game because I was looking forward to seeing Nick Bonito versus Rashawn Slater. And my goodness, Kyle, was that teach tape for Rashawn Slater. Like Bonito didn't sniff the quarterback, and he had him literally. He had him out of his game. The thing is, defensive lineman, your game is all a setup, right? You want to set the offensive lineman up for one or two pass rush moves to win later on. And Nick Bonito has been able to win with speed. He's been able to win with power, but he couldn't do anything because Rashawn Slater had kept him at bay the entire game. So Daniil Hunter has been one of the best defensive ends this year and probably one of the best free agent pickups this offseason that people actually haven't talked about enough when you talk about what he has done and then opposite of what Will Anderson has done too. And you see the combination and that duo and how productive they've been this year. So I can't wait to see that. Daniil Hunter got snubbed for the Pro Bowl. I thought he should have been a Pro Bowler. We'll see if he makes the All-Pro list. But I guarantee he's pissed off about that a little bit, right? And he's going to be excited to go against one of the best in Rashawn Slater, who most likely will be an All-Pro himself. So that's, to me, this is where this game is going to be won. Yes, you can talk about the physicalness of the run game with J.K. Dobbins and that Chargers offensive line. But when Justin Herbert has to go back and pass, right? Because I love Derek Stingley. I think he's going to take out most likely Quentin Johnson, and we'll see what they do with Ladd McConkey. Do they roll the coverage to him? But if Justin Herbert is going to have time, it's going to be because of these bookend tackles. That's the thing. The Texans defensive ends, they haven't given quarterbacks time, right? So to me, this is going to be the premier battle for this game to decide who wins it.
You know, we often say that we need to protect our stars. And I remember when I was first getting into the league, it was Andrew Luck who was getting abused week in, week out in a lack of a clean dish and getting beat up because you just don't have offensive line. I give a tremendous amount of credit to the Chargers for the foresight to not only draft Slater, but then go get Alt. And they've both been absolute stalwarts for them. Joe Alt is a superstar. And I got to give a ton of credit to the Texans edge rushers with Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter. I played against Daniil Hunter a number of times. It looked like an avatar walked off the sideline. If you see him in person, I mean, he's bigger than you think, leaner than you think, and way more jacked than you think. He's one of those rushers that gets you out of your technique. When you just look at him, you're like, I got to get to my spot quicker. I give a tremendous amount of credit to the Chargers, though, because these are two tackles that are stuck in their ways. They are confident in their landmarks, and they are not going to change the way that they play. Joe Alt is a football machine. I know where he was created. I know who created him. And I understand that those things just don't change. I take a look around the league, Quentin Nelson, Zach Martin, guys who played at Notre Dame under Harry Hiestand. Joe Alt is going to have a game plan. He's not going to deviate from it. And you said it best. Your rushes are intended to set up a win down the road. You may not be looking to go pin seeking every single time you put the ball on the tee, but you're setting yourself up for your next shot. Joe Alt understands that. He's not going to change the way that he sets. You're going to have to beat essentially an AI robot out there at tackle. And Rashawn Slater, an absolute freak show. So that's always what I'm looking for is, can you get Joe Alt to deviate from his plan? And I don't think he does. I think if you have a chance, it's going to be against Rashawn Slater.
Yeah, as much as, we talked about probably at the beginning of the season, Joe Alt for rookie was awesome. Down the stretch, it turned into he was awesome for a rookie to this guy's just awesome for an NFL offensive tackle. The second half of this season, he already looked like a Pro Bowler. He did not allow more than two pressures in any single game from week 9 on. The guy was just lights out, difficult to get by, and he'll probably get matched up against Daniil Hunter the majority of the time. And obviously, Daniil will get his here and there. But if I'm scoring this matchup, for as much as that's like where the Texans pressure, they're not a blitz heavy team. They're not getting creative with that defensive front the way we talk about someone like the Denver Broncos, someone like the Minnesota Vikings that we'll touch on later. They just let those guys cook, and rightfully so, because they're that good that they can just win those one-on-ones. I don't think that's going to be the case in this one, and why I am a fan of the Chargers in this matchup, because one of the biggest reasons why the Texas defense is so dominant, I think the Chargers are uniquely qualified to neutralize.